In the wild, only the strongest earn the right to survive. Nature shows no mercy. Only the fierce endure this brutal land. Every battle here is written in blood, dust, and instinct. Fear is the oldest law of the wild, older than time itself. Survival demands courage that no creature can ever truly master. In this land, strength alone decides who lives to see tomorrow. The wild remembers every scar earned in the fight for life. Power and fear collide here, where only the bold survive. This is the law of the plain, ancient and unforgiving. Every roar, every charge, is a fight against extinction itself. In the shadow of danger, instinct becomes the only guide. The battle for survival never ends beneath this burning sky. Here, courage is not a choice. It is the only path forward. The wild does not forgive hesitation. Only the fearless endure. Every creature here fights not for glory, but for another dawn. Strength without fear is nothing, and fear without will is defeat. This land tests every heart that dares to call it home. The price of survival is paid in blood and unyielding will. In nature's arena, there are no rules, only raw instinct. Fear sharpens the senses of every creature bound to survive. The strong protect what they love, no matter the cost. This is not cruelty. This is the ancient balance of survival. Every horn, every claw, tells a story written by instinct. The wild honors only those willing to fight for their place. When giants collide, the earth itself remembers the struggle. Survival is not given, it is fought for with every breath. In this endless battle, respect is earned through defiance alone. The plain belongs to those who refuse to surrender. Every creature carries the weight of survival upon its back. Here, fear and courage walk together across the open plain. The struggle for dominance shapes every corner of this land. No armor, no claw guarantees safety in this ancient war. The wild teaches one truth: only the resilient endure. Every clash beneath this sky writes another chapter of survival. In nature, protection and power are forever intertwined. The fiercest battles are fought to protect what cannot be replaced. This land rewards patience as fiercely as it rewards strength. Every scar tells the story of a will that refused to break. The hunt and the defense are two sides of the same instinct. Even giants know fear when survival hangs in the balance. The wild does not choose winners, it chooses the unbroken. Here, every heartbeat is a negotiation with mortality itself. The struggle between predator and giant defines this ancient land. Fear drives the charge, but instinct decides the outcome. No creature walks this plain without carrying the weight of survival. The battle ends, but the memory of it never fades. This is the price paid for a single more sunrise. In the end, only endurance separates the living from the lost. The wild is silent witness to every act of raw courage. Survival is written not in words, but in scars and silence. In the wild, only the strongest earn the right to survive. Nature shows no mercy. Only the fierce endure this brutal land. Every battle here is written in blood, dust, and instinct. Fear is the oldest law of the wild, older than time itself. Survival demands courage that no creature can ever truly master. In this land, strength alone decides who lives to see tomorrow. The wild remembers every scar earned in the fight for life. Power and fear collide here, where only the bold survive. This is the law of the plain, ancient and unforgiving. Every roar, every charge is a fight against extinction itself. In the shadow of danger, instinct becomes the only guide. The battle for survival never ends beneath this burning sky. Here, courage is not a choice. It is the only path forward. The wild does not forgive hesitation. Only the fearless endure. Every creature here fights not for glory, but for another dawn. Strength without fear is nothing, and fear without will is defeat. This land tests every heart that dares to call it home. The price of survival is paid in blood and unyielding will. In nature's arena, there are no rules, only raw instinct. Fear sharpens the senses of every creature bound to survive. The strong protect what they love, no matter the cost. This is not cruelty. This is the ancient balance of survival. Every horn, every claw, tells a story written by instinct. The wild honors only those willing to fight for their place. When giants collide, The earth itself remembers the struggle. Survival is not given, it is fought for with every breath. In this endless battle, respect is earned through defiance alone. The plain belongs to those who refuse to surrender. Every creature carries the weight of survival upon its back. Here, fear and courage walk together across the open plain. The struggle for dominance shapes every corner of this land. No armor, no claw guarantees safety in this ancient war. The wild teaches one truth: only the resilient endure. Every clash beneath this sky writes another chapter of survival. In nature, protection and power are forever intertwined. The fiercest battles are fought to protect what cannot be replaced. This land rewards patience as fiercely as it rewards strength. Every scar tells the story of a will that refused to break. The hunt and the defense are two sides of the same instinct. Even giants know fear when survival hangs in the balance. The wild does not choose winners, it chooses the unbroken. Here, every heartbeat is a negotiation with mortality itself. The struggle between predator and giant defines this ancient land. Fear drives the charge, but instinct decides the outcome. No creature walks this plain without carrying the weight of survival. The battle ends, but the memory of it never fades. This is the price paid for a single more sunrise. In the end, only endurance separates the living from the lost. The wild is silent witness to every act of raw courage. Survival is written not in words, but in scars and silence. The hunt begins not with speed, but with the calculated silence of the apex predators. Tension thickens the air as the ancient titan braces for the inevitable onslaught. In a flash of raw instinct, the boundary between hunter and prey begins to fracture. Defense is a primal necessity, a desperate bid to survive the ferocity of the wild. Strategy defines the survival of the fittest, testing the resolve of even the strongest hearts. Beneath the thick skin lies a pulse of survival that refuses to be extinguished by fear. Collective strength becomes a weapon, turning the tide of the standoff into a psychological battle. Resilience is the shield that guards against the crushing weight of the predator's relentless advance. Even the fiercest predators must gauge the cost of their aggression in this unforgiving domain. A warning call echoes, declaring that this ground will not be surrendered without a brutal fight. A singular weapon serves as the guardian of life, forged in years of solitary survival. Fear is the silent witness to the carnage, teaching the next generation the brutal rhythm of existence. Determination burns brighter than the midday sun, fueling the drive to overcome insurmountable obstacles. Darkness provides a tactical advantage, masking the intent of those who stalk in the velvet night. Every strike is a calculated gamble, played out on the stage of an indifferent, wild world. True protection is found in the stillness of a stance that invites no quarter and fears no end. The language of the wild is spoken in growls and silent glares that carry the weight of death. Across these ancient plains, the cycle of life persists through the unrelenting friction of survival. Agility meets mass in a chaotic dance, where one wrong step leads to a catastrophic downfall. Every scar tells a story of survival, a testament to the battles fought in the name of life. Wisdom is knowing when to hold back and when to commit everything to the final, fatal strike. To stand alone is to invite the world to test you, proving the strength of one's own resolve. Patience is the most lethal tool in the predator's arsenal, waiting for the perfect, singular opportunity. Defense requires total awareness, a hyper-focused state where senses are tuned to the slightest shift in wind. Nature has honed these killers to perfection, ensuring that only the most capable survive the harsh trials. Even the predators know when to fear the momentum of a giant awakened to its own defensive strength. Survival is a constant, shifting dance, where allies are essential to facing the overwhelming odds of life. Every layer is built to endure, a literal suit of armor crafted by millions of years of evolution. Vigilance never rests. It is the heartbeat of a creature that exists in a constant state of alert. The wall of defense holds, proving that sheer size can be a formidable obstacle to even the swiftest. The roar is not just a sound, it is a declaration of presence, a challenge to the world itself. When the battle concludes without a clear victor, the retreat is a victory for the living spirit. Life continues around the epicenter of the struggle, a reminder that the world is always in motion. Hunger drives the heart, but respect is earned in the crucible of a fight that is never truly finished. Composure is the mask of the predator, hiding the volatility that simmers beneath the calm, golden surface. A phantom of the plains, it moves on, carrying the weight of survival into the next uncharted territory. The hunt is eternal, a loop of pursuit and evasion that defines the very core of this existence. Every rustle of the grass holds a potential threat, a reminder that safety is a fleeting, precious state. As the day ends, the struggle is etched into the landscape, a memory of power and endurance combined. Even in the face of conflict, life must be sustained, requiring a moment of vulnerability to be accepted. Stability is the anchor, the grounding force that allows a creature to withstand the storms of life. Purpose drives the predator, a singular goal that overrides all other senses and moral considerations of life. Time seems to stop for the survivor, a statue of strength looking over its kingdom of trials. Night brings a different kind of challenge, where shadows become both a refuge and a hidden danger. Rest is the reward for the resilient, a brief pause before the next cycle of life commences. Adaptation is the silent partner of survival, ensuring that only those who evolve can endure the hardship. Instinct is the compass that guides the living through the labyrinth of threats that surround every corner. Togetherness is the secret power of the pride, a force that multiplies their strength against any opponent. There is an aura of invincibility in those who refuse to back down, a testament to their inner power. Violence is the ugly side of the natural world, yet it is performed with a lethal, poetic grace. When the force of nature strikes, there is no room for hesitation, only the immediate need to move. Exhaustion is the price of ambition, a physical toll for those who dare to challenge the status quo. The light of the moon guides the survivors, revealing the beauty that exists in the heart of struggle. The observers of death wait patiently, knowing that the cycle will inevitably deliver a final, quiet end. Shade is a sanctuary, a moment of reprieve granted by the land to those who continue to persevere. Even the most ferocious creatures find pause in the small, quiet details of the living, breathing world. Preparation is the habit of the survivor, ensuring that one is always ready for the next unknown challenge. The trail is invisible to most, yet it speaks a clear language to those with the instinct to listen. Teamwork transforms the individual into a collective force, capable of overcoming the greatest of earthly physical challenges. The elements become a shield, a barrier that the lions must overcome to reach their determined, hard target. Desire is the catalyst for the hunt, a hunger that goes beyond the stomach to the spirit. Power is not just the ability to strike, but the capacity to command the space around you. Failure is the teacher that refines the hunt, stripping away the errors until only success remains left. The journey is the mission, a constant movement that defines the existence of the free and wild. Connection is the heart of the pride, a foundation of love that supports the harsh reality of survival. Solidarity is a quiet strength, a silent agreement that there is safety in the presence of another. Protection is not always about fighting. Sometimes it is about simply being built to endure the blow. A simple act of defiance can change the course of a battle, turning the tide with ingenuity. Respect is the ultimate outcome of a battle between equals, a silent acknowledgement of the strength involved. The way forward is the only path, for the survivor who knows the value of moving ahead. Within the heart of the predator lies a gentle core, a dedication to the life that follows. The simplest needs drive the most complex lives, a truth that binds every creature under the sun. Rest is a sacred necessity, a quiet peace that prepares the body for the next big challenge. Cleansing is the ritual of renewal, a way to leave the past behind and stand fresh again. Every life has a purpose, a symbiotic connection that ties the weak and the strong in harmony. The cycle never truly ends. It only shifts into a new phase of search and persistent hunger. Confidence is the armor of the spirit, a shield that protects the mind from the whispers of fear. And mastery is the result of countless trials, a skill set honed by the fires of experience and time. A challenge issued is a statement of will, a declaration that one will not be taken easily. The power of a firm stance is often enough to deter even the most hungry, desperate, bold predator. Harmony is a delicate state, a temporary pause in the eternal struggle for survival and for life. The story of the survivor is written in every step, a legacy of power that echoes through time. Every life follows its own unique trajectory, a path that intersects only when the wild demands it. The King of Beasts assesses the Titan, knowing that one wrong move in this parched landscape will be his final mistake in the hunt for dominance. Steel meets ivory in a silent pact of violence, where the prehistoric weight of the rhino commands the very earth to tremble beneath its thunderous approach. With a roar that tears through the silence, the predator strikes, gambling his life against the impenetrable armor of the living tank. Tooth and claw fail against the fortress of nature, as the lion realizes that survival is not always found in the kill, but in the retreat. Force meets force in a brutal exchange, reminding all who watch that the wild does not negotiate, it only demands a heavy price for survival. Unity is the only shield against such a mountain of rage, for even the pride must bow before the unyielding strength of the armored giant. He stands as a monument to ancient endurance, a creature defined not by malice, but by the relentless, iron-willed instinct to remain standing. Every wound is a lesson etched in skin, a bitter reminder that some battles are won simply by walking away with one's life intact. The air is thick with the copper tang of fear, a primal frequency that dictates the movements of every creature living on the razor's edge. Rain offers no mercy to the desperate, only turning the arena into a treacherous stage where the stakes of life and death are magnified tenfold. Beneath the electric fury of the storm, the dance continues, a rhythmic clash of survival that has played. Do not underestimate the speed of the Titan, for in the heat of combat, even the heaviest beast can move with the lethal fluidity of a shadow. The scent of blood changes everything, turning a territorial dispute into a hunt where the rules of engagement are rewritten in a single, painful moment. Fear is the engine of protection, the driving force that transforms a herbivore into an unstoppable force of nature when the ones they love are threatened. He gathers his spirit, ignoring the ache in his muscles, for the hunter knows that hesitation is the precursor to an empty belly and a lonely night. Inches separate the living from the dead, a microscopic margin of error that dictates the fate of all who dare to challenge the lords of the savannah. The retreat is not a sign of defeat, but a strategic admission that the cost of victory is simply too high to pay on this particular evening. Silence settles like a shroud, a heavy, velvet reminder that the battle is over but the war for existence continues long after the sun has vanished. He remains vigilant, for the peace of the night is a fragile construct built upon the unwavering readiness to fight for the sanctity of one's own space. Persistence is the hallmark of the hunter. He watches, he waits, and he learns, knowing that moonlight reveals a different face of the wilderness, one where the ghosts of the battle linger in the cold air, waiting for the cycle to begin anew. He is the ghost of the plains, a creature of shadow and intent, forever locked in a deadly game with the titans who challenge his supremacy. Power does not always need to roar. Sometimes, a simple warning felt in the very bones of the earth. Every movement is a masterpiece of evolution, a silent symphony of predatory grace that aims to turn the tide of the hunt before the morning light arrives. Strategy is the hunter's true weapon, a mental game played with physical pieces on a board where the stakes are absolute and the penalties are lethal. Watch the weight of the world shift. A titan turning to the threat with a speed that defies the expectation. Breath is the fuel of life, and in this frozen moment, it marks the time between the last struggle and the next desperate lunge for survival. But the scavengers know the truth that the masters of the plains are currently ignoring, that in this fight, there are no winners. He walks into the dark, carrying the weight of his hunger with the dignity of a king, waiting for the moment when the odds shift back in his favor. Peace is a temporary state, a brief interlude in a life that is fundamentally built upon the necessity of standing firm against the relentless tides of existence. Each scar is a badge of honor, a narrative written in leather and bone that proves the tenacity of life in an environment that is constantly trying to claim it.
Nature speaks in the language of thunder and low, guttural calls, a conversation between the sky and the earth that has been ongoing for millions of years.
Look into the eyes of the beast and see the reflection of the ages, a window into a time when the world was younger and the giants walked freely. The strength of the lion is not just in his claws, but in the bonds of his family, the collective unit that allows them to face the threats of the wild together. Within the heart of the titan, there lies a gentle core, a protective love that fuels the ferocity. The cycle begins again, the eternal chase of light and dark and prey. He is the earth in motion, a steady, unstoppable force that dictates the flow of life around him with a qualities. They are two sides of the same coin, kings of different domains, respecting the boundaries established by the cold, hard realities. The world wakes up, indifferent to the battles of the night, continuing its frantic, beautiful.
Wisdom is knowing when to move and when to be still, a balance that the master hunter has perfected over a lifetime of surviving in a world of constant threat. There is a peace to be found in the water, a sanctuary for the weary titan who has fought for his place in the world and has held it firmly.
The savannah remains, a testament to the wild heart of the world, where the battle for survival is not a tragedy, but a beautiful... The king of beasts has marked his target, sensing the raw, primal tension that vibrates through the dry earth beneath his paws. There is no hesitation here, only the inevitable collision of two titans who know that in this wild kingdom,
power meets precision, a thundering force of nature carving a path of destruction toward an opponent who refuses to bow before the weight of armor. Fear is a ghost that haunts the periphery, yet these warriors trade it for the cold, absolute necessity of survival in a land where mercy is never granted. Protection runs deeper than the blood spilled on the red soil, driving a protective instinct that turns an ancient grazer into a relentless fortress of defiance.
The tide of the conflict ebbs and flows like the desert winds, showing that even the fiercest hunter must respect the unyielding resilience of the mountain that moves.
In the silence between lunges, you can hear the heartbeat of the wilderness, a rhythmic reminder that life is fragile and glory is earned.
This is the ancient dance of predator and prey, a brutal choreography perfected over millennia,
where the gravity loses its grip as the struggle reaches a fever pitch, casting both creatures into a whirlwind of dust and adrenaline that obscures the fading horizon.
Strength is a finite currency, spent here with reckless abandon, leaving both combatants gasping for air as the sun sets. Every scar tells a story of survival, a testament to the iron will that forces a creature to stand tall when nature's shield is forged in the fires of evolution, a thick, leathery barrier that stands as the ultimate guardian against...
Distant horizons offer no comfort to those caught in the cycle of the hunt, where the only map is instinct and the only law is the strength of one's own resolve.
Deception is the hunter's greatest ally, a subtle shift in weight that keeps the target guessing until the very moment the strike finds its mark. Even as the light dies, the battle rages on, fueled by a desperation that transcends the need for food, and wisdom is the quiet companion of the veteran hunter, whispering that knowing when to wait is just as crucial as knowing when to release the fury. Tense. The bond between mother and offspring is a fortress that no predator can easily breach.
The grass bears witness to the struggle, trampled and torn by the weight of two giants whose lives have become inextricably linked through this violent collision.
Look into the eyes of the hunted, and you will find a reflection of your own mortality. A mirror hellions.
It is a blur of bone and muscle, a chaotic symphony of violence that rings out across the plains, announcing to all that
the underdog often carries the greatest weight, turning the table on the predator with a sudden, surging display of defense.
There is no room for panic in the heart of a survivor, only the cold, sharp focus required to analyze the threat and plot the path to victory.
Nature has honed these weapons over millions of years, sharpening them for this exact moment where the difference between a challenge is issued in a language older than words, a roar of defiance that forces the lion to consider if this target is worth the cost of the kill. Every step is a gamble, a strategic movement designed to expose a weakness in the armor of a giant who has weathered storms far worse than this one. Patience is the predator's greatest virtue, the ability to wait for the exact heartbeat where the prey's guard drops, even for the smallest fraction of a second. Silence is often the loudest indicator of an impending shift, a calm that settles over the savannah before the storm of teeth and horns breaks the air once more. It is a moment of suspended time, where the laws of nature are written in the air, etched by the silhouette of...
Near misses are the echoes of what could have been, a terrifying reminder that in this brutal world, 1 inch is the difference between life and a lingering demise. Injury is the price of ambition, a lesson learned through the sting of pain that reminds even the king that he is not invincible in the eyes of his prey. Defiance is a pillar of iron, a stand taken by those who refuse to be erased, holding the line against the darkness with every ounce of their remaining energy. Night is the hunter's shroud, the veil that brings new challenges to the defense, forcing the rhino to rely on smell and hearing to keep the predator at bay. The eyes reflect the hunger of an empty belly, a burning furnace that demands satisfaction, driving the predator. Warnings are the final courtesy before the onslaught, a display of strength intended to ward off the encroaching death that stalks the perimeter of the safe zone. Darkness provides the cover needed for the final gambit, a desperate push to claim the prize before the safety of the night fades into the next morning. The collision of force is inevitable, a thunderous meeting of two wills that refuses to be ignored. Duty is a heavy burden, carried with honor by the giants of the earth, a testament to the instinct that prioritizes the future over the present. Every movement now is a test of character, a stripping away of the superficial until all that remains is the core of the spirit pushing through the pain.
Power is not just the ability to strike, but the ability to stand tall and command the space, forcing the predator to respect the boundary of the strong.
Wisdom finally outweighs the hunger, the realization that some battles are meant to test the resolve rather than deliver the kill, preserving the hunter for another day. Victory is not always the death of an opponent, but the survival of the kin, the triumphant return to peace after the fires of conflict have finally cooled. Peace returns to the plains, a fragile, temporary truce that settles over the land like a blanket. Masks. In the end, the cycle of life continues, driven by the quiet, enduring love that protects the next generation.
Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, another chapter in the endless epic of the wild, where only the strongest and the wisest continue the eternal fight to endure. This is the kingdom of the wild, a place of beauty and blood, where life finds a way to persist against all. In the heart of the ancient plains, the silence of dawn is shattered by the raw, primal tension between the armored titan and the king of beasts. Fear has no place here, only the instinctual drive to defend one's territory against a relentless shadow seeking to claim the throne. Every movement is calculated, a high-stakes dance where one wrong step guarantees a swift and unforgiving end to this desperate battle for survival. Survival is a grueling testament to strength, carved into the scars of those who fight to remain standing when the dust finally settles.
Defensive power meets feline grace in a collision of biology that has defined these wild lands for millions of years of evolution. Even the bravest hunter must acknowledge the sheer, overwhelming mass of the defender, whose armor is forged by nature to withstand the sharpest teeth. Exhaustion begins to claw at both warriors, yet the instinct for protection drives them past the limits of their physical endurance tonight.
A roar of defiance rings out across the plains, announcing to all that this battle will...
On this stage of dust and grass, there can be no mercy, only the ruthless efficiency of nature deciding who claims the right to live. Every muscle is strained to the point of breaking, a visceral display of pure power where survival is the only reward for victory. One precise strike is all it takes to shift the balance of power, turning a desperate hunt into a painful lesson in humility. Tactical retreats are part of the process, for even the king knows that patience is a weapon as deadly as any fang or claw. Gravity and fury collide as the hunt reaches its peak, where the line between the predator and the victim becomes dangerously and fatally blurred.
The momentum swings with every heavy step, shifting the advantage back and forth in a deadly dance of survival that tests the limits of flesh.
Daylight reveals the true cost of the confrontation, as weary bodies continue to fight, fueled by an ancient drive to outlast the opponent standing before them. Pride is a dangerous burden, and here it acts as a tether that keeps the lion anchored to a battle that has long since turned into a stalemate. Sometimes, victory is not found in the shedding of blood, but in the unwavering refusal to be broken by the challenges of the wild. Peace eventually returns to the savannah, but the memory of this battle remains etched into the soil, a testament to the iron will of survival. The cycle of life is cruel and demanding, and for those who dwell here, every single breath is a hard-won victory against the odds of nature. Nature rarely offers second chances, yet the hunger remains, driving the predator to watch, to wait, and to eventually seek another path toward success. In the aftermath, the beauty of the wild stands revealed, a fragile balance held together by the strength. For the young, the world is a dangerous mystery, but beneath the armor of their protectors, they find the security required to grow into their own. The rhythm of the savannah is eternal, a constant loop of predator and prey that keeps the heart of the wilderness beating through every season. It is a harsh reality, but in the endurance of these mountain creatures, we find the core. Vigilance is the price paid for staying alive, and the lessons learned in battle are never truly forgotten. becoming a part of the creature's instinct. The sound of authority carries far across the plains, warning all who hear it that this space is claimed and defended by one who will not yield. There is an unspoken understanding between those who stand at the top of the hierarchy, a respect earned through the shared experience of the hunt. As the day fades, the challenges of survival shift, demanding new tactics and different strengths from those who dwell within this vast, wild kingdom.
When the sun sets, the true face of the savannah emerges, revealing the hidden lives of those who survive by the light of the moon.
The night is long, but the spirit of the survivor is longer, enduring through the darkness to welcome the promise of a brand new dawn.
Rest is the final requirement of the hunt, for even the greatest predator must recharge before they can return to the cycle once again. Under the gaze of 1,000 stars, the world is silent, but beneath that silence lies the heartbeat of a land that never truly sleeps.
Every breeze carries a story, tales of battles fought and survival earned, whisperings of the creatures who walk the path of the wild. A protector stands watch, its presence a comfort to the life that surrounds it, even in the heart of this dangerous and wild environment. The king rests, but the instinct remains, a persistent ember that will ignite once more when the light returns to the savannah tomorrow. Time marches on, and the survivors walk with it, guided by the wisdom of the earth and the strength of their own indomitable spirits. Here, the battle for life is never truly finished, but for now, there is stillness and a fleeting sense of peace in the wild. The savannah holds its breath, for when the king approaches the armored titan, only the raw instinct to survive will dictate the outcome of this collision. Two ancient legacies of the wild now stand face to face, locked in a silent dialogue of power, where strength is not just muscle, but the relentless will to endure. The stillness shatters instantly, transforming a moment of caution into a desperate, high-stakes dance of life, death, and uncompromising grit. To hold one's ground against such ferocity is a testament to the primal fear that courses through the veins of every creature under this scorching sun.
Every movement here is a calculated risk, a gamble where a single mistake results in the heavy weight of consequence falling upon the defeated.
But there is no malice in this violence, only the deep, unspoken urgency of protection.
The predator understands the weight of his task, knowing that the titan before him is not easily broken, requiring patience that burns like the midday heat. Fear is the pulse of the earth, the unseen force that drives the heart to beat faster, keeping the senses sharp and the reactions instantaneous.
Here, survival is not a given. It is earned through the sweat of the fight and the unwavering courage to stand against the inevitable storm.
He evaluates the distance, reading the rhythm of his opponent, because in the kingdom of the giants, knowledge is just as vital as raw, unbridled physical force. Witness the true face of the wilderness, where protection of one's own existence is the singular, driving force that consumes every ounce of energy and focus. This is the intensity of the struggle, a raw display of nature's power, where the line between the hunter and the hunted blurs into a singular, chaotic blur. The earth remembers these battles, recording the impact of every hoof and the scratch of every claw into its ancient, hardened surface. They are locked in a temporal trap, where the only thing that exists is the next breath and the next move, stripped of everything but the instinct to win. This is the anatomy of a conflict, played out in the stark brilliance of reality, where only the most resilient can hope to see the light of another dawn. Strategy guides the hunter, ensuring that every movement is a step closer to the outcome, even when the odds are stacked against the sheer size of the titan. Nature does not tolerate the weak, rewarding only those who possess the fire to endure, the resolve to protect, and the strength to overcome.
This is the essence of existence, the relentless pursuit of one's place in the order of things, where the struggle itself is the ultimate proof of being alive.
Resilience is not just about standing tall. It is about refusing to fall when the world throws its heaviest weight against you, time and time again. The shadows grow long, mirroring the wariness of the combatants, yet the instinct to survive remains, burning bright and defiant. We see the true cost of survival etched into their weary frames, a silent narrative of the price paid for every... Even in the midst of conflict, there is a moment for thought, a brief pause where the predator must weigh the value. To stand against the odds is to carry the legacy of the earth, proving that existence is earned, fought for, and the elements themselves conspire to shroud the struggle, hiding the details of the fight from the eyes of the uninitiated, leaving only the truth of the outcome.
The realization sets in, a silent understanding between the two giants that today the land will remain as it is, unchanged. There is a wisdom in knowing when the fight is over. A mutual recognition that the cycle of survival continues. The day ends as it began, in the silence of the savannah, where the struggle for life is the only truth. He moves on, a shadow in the night, carrying the memory of the encounter as he continues his lonely walk. Nature preserves its own, a fragile and fierce balance, where every struggle, every fight, and every